It's winter in Colorado, and I'm presenting these videos, and now I want to start a new section on presuppositions. In the late 1970s, my wife, my analyst wife Dixie, and I were consulting a psychiatrist in downtown Chicago. He wanted us to teach him about talk therapy systems. And so we went once a week to consult him. We would talk, for instance, about Gestalt therapy of Fritz Perls, or transactional analysis of Eric Berne, or psychodrama of Jacob Moreno, or NLP of Bandler and Grinder. And we were teaching these various systems. One week when we went to his office, he allowed us to come in, and we noticed as we sat down that there was a young woman, maybe 24 or so years of age, who was sitting, leaning in a corner, kind of huddled up. And we were there a couple of minutes. He was shuffling some papers, and then he said, "You can leave now. I'll see you next week." And she left. We went ahead with our consultation of him on talk therapy systems. And as we were leaving, actually we were out on the street, my wife said, "I'm angry." And I said, "What are you angry about?" She said, "I didn't like seeing that young woman treated that way. What would you do differently?" I'd tell her to get off her ass and sit in a chair and start talking, because therapy is a cooperative venture. I'd tell her this. I'd say, "We're going to figure this out together. This is a team effort. If we don't succeed in your goal, then we both fail. But if we succeed, we both win. So it's a cooperative venture, and you start talking. I'm still angry." "Well, honey, we can't do anything about what that man does with therapy. He told us he adjusted her meds every once in a while, and he just did his office work while she was there, and that her parents, who were wealthy people on the North Shore of Chicago, sent him a check once a month." That angers me, Frank. That's not therapy. Changing her meds every now and then and leaving her huddling in a corner, that's therapy? We were not hired, honey, to tell him how to do therapy. We were hired to teach him about talk therapy systems, and that's all we can do. Well, I don't like it. How about us eating at the Park Hyatt today, and that'll allow us to look out on Michigan Avenue and at the water tower, and I'm sure we'll both calm down by then, and next week we'll try and sneak something in about the effectiveness of treating people in an equal manner and sitting together and talk. Now, what my wife was insisting on was the first lesson of presuppositions, and that is that your behavior communicates. The person who's sitting huddled in a corner is communicating to you, and you shuffling papers on a desk are communicating to them. That is the behavioral presupposition, and my wife was extremely articulate about exactly what she expected in therapy. She expected cooperation. She said it's a team effort. We'll do this together. We'll solve it with both of us working on it. And I do have something to add, she could have said, and that is a lot of therapeutic information and information about fears and information about sad, angry, scared, happy, excited, tender. But the first lesson of presuppositions is this: your behavior communicates. And I'm not just talking about therapy, I'm talking about parenting also. What do you communicate to your children or your grandchildren, or in our case, our great-grandchildren? How does your very mode of being, your way of talking to them in an equal manner, you're asking questions based on certain, later I will explain, verbal presuppositions like, what did you learn today? That assumes the child has learned. But our whole first lesson is that you communicate to another person in an equal, loving fashion, even though sometimes you do have to confront in a rather harsh manner. So, all I want to say today is that in your behavior you're saying honesty. In your behavior you're saying we love each other, we're working on this, we're friends, we're equal partners. We're the animals with a big brains, and we can solve this if you use all your thinking and I'll use all my thinking, and we'll do this together. And that's the way you also treat children. So the first lesson of presuppositions is behavior.